My name is Lisa Batson, and I'm a mom.
That's a big job.
I like Progress Texas because the people are amazing. Kathleen and Chris, and they're doing the hard work that needs to be done in Texas. And I feel like they took the mantle and they said, someone has to do it and we're going to do it. And I love that.
It's Tuesday, July 8th, 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch. Rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. As the fifth day of searching for victims of the July 4th flood in the Texas Hill Country begins, hope of finding anyone alive has continued to fade. Most recent death toll now stands at 104. That surpasses the lethality of Hurricane Helene and is now the deadliest rainfall-driven flash flood in the United States since 1976's Big Thompson River flood in Colorado. Hundreds of local and state responders and volunteers are being supported by helicopters, drones, and dive teams as the search enters day 5. The Independent says Kerrville Mayor Joe Herring Jr. has warned locals to expect a rough week as over 24 people remain missing in Kerr County. There's tension in Austin related to the rescue effort, as the Austin Firefighters Association has called for a vote of no confidence in Austin Fire Chief Joel Baker for, as they say, forbidding Austin firefighters from deploying to assist search and rescue efforts. Meanwhile, California Governor Gavin Newsom has announced he's deploying that state's urban search and rescue team to Texas, despite a battle against wildfires underway now in California east of San Luis Obispo. It's difficult to say how long the search will remain active, but the finger pointing is sure underway, and local government in the flood-ravaged area is very much under scrutiny at this point. The Associated Press says that after the better part of a week, local officials in Kerr County have still revealed little about what, if any, actions they took to safeguard residents, tourists, and visitors on July 4th in a river basin dangerous enough to earn the nickname Flash Flood Alley, deflecting pointed questions about preparations and warnings as forecasters warned of life-threatening conditions even yesterday. Kerr County Sheriff Larry Letha was dodging, saying, quote, "Today's not the day and now's not the time to discuss the warnings, who got them, who didn't get them. Right now, I'm only worried about public safety," unquote. Well, that day is definitely on the way. Kerrville City Manager Dalton Rice has been slightly more forthcoming, saying local authorities had been reluctant to raise early alarm based on the weather forecast out of fear of crying wolf. Focusing on Camp Mystic at Hunt, Texas, some of the girls who made it reported being woken up after midnight by the storm's thunder. The power had been knocked out, and they noticed the rising water and flashes of lightning. The AP says Camp Mystic's evacuation plan in such a scenario also remains unclear. As we talked about yesterday, emergency infrastructure shortfalls have become central to understanding how this happened. ABC reporting says that in 2016, Kerr County Commissioner Bob Reeves and Sheriff W.R. Heyerholzer spoke up at a meeting in favor of keeping a word-of-mouth system by which summer camps on the river would call each other by phone in a downriver chain when they saw floodwaters rising. Reeves calling that, quote, "a very good system," and Heyerholzer counting that plan among the informal arrangements that, quote, "really do work real well," unquote. At a meeting the following year, an unnamed commissioner decried the idea, quote, "of our beautiful Kerr County having these damn sirens going off in the middle of the night," unquote. Clearly, folks set in their ways, though there was opposition to the status quo, including Commissioner John Letts, who noted his board's duty to act in the interest of public safety in a danger-prone place. Politics enters the picture here, as the commissioners did decide at the last minute to apply for FEMA funds made available in 2017 by then-President Barack Obama. The AP says a county judge and some commissioners expressed discontent that they might find themselves accepting money from the Obama administration, and even talked about possible exit strategies if they were to get a grant. Their application was apparently rushed and was not selected by the Texas Division of Emergency Management, not a stretch to say probably to the relief of some of these local authorities of the time. The New York Times has questions as well, noting that the guy in charge this time, Donald Trump, while probably more agreeable to the political tastes of many of Kerr County's elected leaders in recent weeks, has been slashing federal agencies that were pivotal to any hope of preventing the tragedy that's befallen their home. That's the question of whether cuts at the National Weather Service may have affected the forecast. And Trump has also threatened to dismantle agencies that Kerr County now desperately needs on the ground for relief efforts, namely FEMA. The Times notes that Texas has one of the strongest state-level emergency management operations in the country. Over the coming days, we're going to get a real-time look at how badly FEMA is actually needed here in the Lone Star State. We talked about HB 13 yesterday, the bill that would have invested heavily in automated outdoor warning systems across Texas, not only for parts of the state that regularly face floods, but also fires or tornadoes or other regularly occurring natural threats. Progress Texas Advocacy Manager Reagan Stone reminds us that since HB 13 died in the Senate this last regular session under Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's watch, after having cleared the House by a very wide bipartisan majority, it would have to start all over again in a special session. KXAN TV in Austin says Governor Abbott has confirmed that flood safety will be part of an upcoming special session, however, not specifically the special session that's already been called to start in just under 2 weeks on July 21st, for which the agenda has already been set. Lieutenant Governor Patrick has been more definitive about the state's response in the Guadalupe River Valley in particular. WFAA in Dallas reported yesterday that Patrick has pledged to install flood sirens along the river by next summer, citing agreement with Governor Abbott. Other communities in the area with rivers to manage do have these siren systems, including San Marcos. NBC News took a close look at another with this infrastructure, and that's little old Comfort, Texas, which I visit occasionally, and I've heard tests of those sirens myself when I've been in town. In hindsight, and no pun intended here, that's likely now a more comforting sound for Comfort's townsfolk than it might have been before this last weekend. Comfort had recently completed an update of its flood alert system, installing a new siren in their volunteer fire department's headquarters and moving the old one to a low-lying area of town along Cypress Creek, which is a tributary of the Guadalupe River, which is prone to flooding. That one, in fact, went off later Friday morning as the waters rose. Another after effect of any big storm in rural Texas is a rise in lost pets, some frightened from their homes by storm noise, others, as in this case, perhaps actually washed away by the water. The ever iffy New York Post writes about the rescue group Kerrville Pets Alive, which has seen the expected influx of found and rescued animals begin. They believe there are likely thousands of displaced pets now scattered around the region. Kerrville Pets Alive reports about 15 reunions of animals and owners so far, but they expect to have at least 50 dogs and 50 cats up for adoption as the crisis ends. We're putting a link to their resources in the show notes this morning. And once again, Progress Texas expresses our gratitude to everyone who continues the very difficult work across the wide range of Texas affected by this disaster. Everyone, please stay safe as the work continues. Our mission at Progress Texas is to counter the conservative disinformation machine, which is funded by oil and tech billionaires and religious right-wing activist groups, all while fact-based independent media outlets increasingly face funding threats. While access to those outlets is frequently free, as it is here at Progress Texas, it does take listener and viewer support to keep fact-based independent media going. If you've come to appreciate what we do, now more than ever, we could use your support as a monthly contributor, and no amount is too small. Go to progresstexas.org/donate. Thanks to Robert Clifford, Karen Cunningham, and John Cotter, all of whom are on the team. We appreciate all of y'all very much. While you're at our website, be sure and hit the web store to grab the merch to match your progressive values. Y'all means all Revolution and our most popular Humans Against Ted Cruz t-shirts, all union printed right here in Texas. You'll find them there alongside other great stuff. It's all at progresstexas.org. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. Links to all of these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.